This is the Drunk Duck Quackcast video, Ozone Ocean, and with me is this beautiful Baines and his lovely Piccolo. I mean, God, Baines, that looks beautiful.
Thank you. And my name is Pedasso. Stu. Call me Stu.
Stu Pedasso. I don't know what that means. But... Oh, damn it, now I do, you bastard. That is fantastic.
Now I'm the only one that doesn't get the joke. Okay.
Say it quickly together. Stu Pedasso.
Stu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I get it.
That's
like,
have to say it.
Stupid asso. This is
It's not that funny, but you have to say it with the right accent.
Pitface up above here, looking gorgeous. Hair growing slightly longer, slightly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's flipping.
Beautiful.
And Tantz Aerine in her magnificent cardigan, looking intellectual, because she is.
The hip professor.
hip professor. So we're talking about accents and how you render them, how you do them when you're doing a comic. So first up, we'll just rock it straight back to Pitt, because you were first up in the Quackcast talking about accents. Bones has a very particular way of talking. How do you do that for Bones' way of talking?
I visualize it in my head and I write it.
You do, and Bones sort of speaks in a very rough kind of way, like he, instead of talking like a normal, lovely person like me who speaks properly in Australian English the way everybody should, Bones speaks in a more rough kind of way, almost Cockney, but the American version of Cockney, sort of like Lobo you were describing him.
Yeah,
is,
like he'd be like, huh, you said cock, like that. But yeah, so it's a lot of the words are kind of condensed together. I mean, you could still get what he says, but he's got a cadence to his voice as well, and
contractions and things, like instead of changing, it would be changing.
And he doesn't use a lot of words either. I think that also makes a difference for characters like that. Like, is your character real talkative, or do they say the least amount of words possible? I mean, that also can have an effect on things.
Yeah. You've got to think about the kind of words your character would know. Do they know the big long words? Maybe they only know the short ones. They never went past year 8 in high school or grade 8 or whatever. So they only know simple English. Yeah, so that's how they communicate. It's a good point, that. You have Tread is another character who speaks in a very specific accent. You render his speech text in like almost a computer terminal text, and he speaks in that way too. Very correct, very technical.
Yeah, he's very much to the point too. He doesn't have big long speeches or anything. It's just how his character is. So yeah, but he's strange. I don't know what else to say about him. He's just a unique guy, and it seems though that the way his speech is conveyed in the speech bubbles, along with the text that I use, is good enough to convey that he what kind of personality he has. So
yeah, it works quite well. Tantz, you have characters in, well, Tantz and Pitt together, you do Brave Resistance, and, well, Without Moonlight, and you have characters speaking German, English, and Greek as your main languages there, and you render that on the page in a very specific way. Could you tell us about that and why you do it that way?
We use colored fonts. I mean, the same font across the comic, but different colors for different languages consistently. And we have the colors that we have chosen basically come from a unique color of that nation's flag. So, so that they will be easily recognizable and distinguishable without needing to indicate that foreign languages are being used at this point. Yeah. That's how we render them.
Yeah, so your Greek characters are speaking in blue text, and English speaking, well, American speaking in red, and German in black. And there's a good reason for that too, because these characters aren't meant to understand each other. So you have this in Brave Resistance, an American pilot who's crashed in the middle of the mountains in Greece, and
He doesn't speak.
yeah, he doesn't speak the language. So you have a character speaking to him in red, so the readers can immediately understand that he understands what they're saying. Well, they can work that out eventually anyway, and when they get into the rhythm of the comic. And when they're speaking blue, in blue text, you know that Hunter, the American, doesn't know what they're saying, so that is over his head. Yeah, so that's why you have to do it that way, and it makes a whole lot of sense, and it works too because it's done so easily.
Exactly, language is a plot device for Brave Resistance and for Without Moonlight. So that's why we paid this much attention on how to render the languages and how they are spoken and everything.
And the other ways people often do this is either doing it in a different language and doing the old asterisk thing and then doing the translation below. And you were saying to me you don't do that for...
Yeah, I don't... Well, initially the whole language coding began when I started making Without Moonlight, and then when we collaborated with Tidre, we adopted it because I had tested it and it worked. And the idea not to use a translation was because we don't really want the reader to be taken out of the emotional swing of things and the cadence of the story by having to look for a footnote to see what is being said, because that will put a distance between the reader and the story and the characters and everything. So,
that's a good point. And another way of doing different languages, well, not different languages so much as when you've got a character who speaks a different who speaks English as a second language, you'll show like a phonetic version of what they're saying, sort of like how Pitface renders how Bone speaks, but more extreme. And often that's not a good idea, is it?
I didn't hear half of that because I was sneezing.
Well, like rendering unusual accents in like purely phonetic kind of terms can be very confusing.
Well, it can be. I mean, I do have some accents in both comics to indicate who is the Highlander or hillbilly or not a town educated person in a sense. And when I do that, I have chosen specific words that I alter at any given time. So after a while, I hope that the reader gets accustomed to recognizing the words that are altered and just hear the sound in their mind without having a big problem of decoding it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, if you keep some consistent words and the others are okay, you still get the effect, in my opinion at least, the effect of the accent without needing to, pose problems.
Yeah. Baines, what? Sorry, I was going.
No, it's okay. I don't really do it. So yeah, keep going, man. Yeah.
All right. So when people do this for Irish and Scottish, they try and render it phonetically, and often it's because they don't speak those accents, and they're doing their version of the phonetic. Jesus Christ! I'm trying to say something.
I did it.
It's okay,
I didn't do it.
Phonetic.
Trying to write out a Scottish accent phonetically or an Irish accent phonetically, and it looks really weird and wrong because they can't even do it. They're not a native person who does that, and a native speaker wouldn't do it anyway. So it's not a good idea to do that generally. That's
Yeah.
what I reckon.
Yes.
Unless you make them at
Ellipses.
least still sound some kind of human. Don't make them.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah. Not like Groundskeeper Willie, because that's really...
Unless you're making a funny comic, then do that shit all the time.
and one that doesn't matter if people understand it or not. All right. Well, that has been our Quackcast video number 257. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tantz, Pit,
Thank
Baines. Thanks. All right. Goodbye,
Grazie.
everybody. Take your
Adios.
schwanzes and go home.
I don't care where you stay, but you can't stay here. I don't know. I can't do this right now.